Welcome to the Human Being Unleashed podcast, where we redefine, realign, and reimagine what it means to be human so that you can live a life with the health, wealth, and relationships that are inherently yours. Yo, what is happening, my beautiful, beautiful fam? What's up, Human Being Unleashed? I am excited to go ahead and shoot a mini episode on a nice mental exercise. This is like a real exercise that you can do to reframe deeply held perspectives in such a way that frees you up to just do what the heck you want to do. All right. So I got inspired to do this after just having a conversation with a client of mine. And this client of mine, I actually heard them speak not too long ago. And they took the entire crowd, they took the entire audience to a really interesting exercise. And basically what that was what are the things you were shamed about? Making a list of the things that you were shamed about growing up, or maybe that you shame yourself about now. So actually, you're going to do both. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to get a piece of paper, draw a line straight down the middle. On the left side, you're going to put things I was shamed about growing up. On the right side, you're going to put things I shame myself about today. They may be similar, they may be the same, or some may be different. Okay, now here is the trick though. In order to really tap into the emotions about the things you were shamed about growing up, when you're going through that, you're gonna write the list with your opposite hand. Okay? The hand that you don't write with. For example, I always write with my right hand. I will do this with my left. The reason why is because it's like you're turning on that little kid part of your brain again when you're trying to learn how to write. Like when you were little trying to learn how to write, even with your writing hand, you did not have the motor, you didn't have it built into your hand automatically to the point you did now. You have to really train yourself on how to do it. So if you begin doing that with your left, if you begin doing that with the opposite hand, you begin writing again, you're going to notice that you all of a sudden, it's like you're trying to learn how to write again. This really taps into that subconscious part of yourself that's really like a little kid. So what I encourage you to do is just write out what were the things you were ashamed about on that left side when you were growing up. Was it you were too loud? You asked way too much questions, right? Why? Was it that you were different than everybody because you liked other things? Was it that you were not sensitive? Was it that you were too much? What is it that you were shamed about growing up? Now, take the time to do that with your left hand. Now, what you're going to do with your right hand, not with your right hand, but on the right side of that piece of paper, with the hand you do write with today, you're going to start writing out the things that you shame yourself about now. For example, I work too much. I'm too sensitive. I don't always do what I say I'm going to do. I write down what you shame yourself about now. Okay? These are your shame stories. Now, the reason why this is powerful is because these shame stories are only perspectives. These shame stories are only stories that are told from a certain perspective. And the life that you want is only a perspective shift away. I'm going to say that again. The life that you want is only a perspective shift away. The beautiful thing about getting clear on what these shames are, these shame stories are, is it allows you, what it does is it allows you to see the stories that you're telling yourself, to see the perspectives you currently hold. Now, what I want you to know is that these stories, when you start to see them, they can be changed by literally just reframing them. Just reframing them. Okay? So, for example, one of the things that I shamed myself about, I used to shame myself about, was the fact that I work a lot. And I feel like I work too much. I feel like I worked too much at a point. Like I wasn't a good son or a good brother or a good grandson, a good partner because I worked too much. So what I did was I got that shame story of I work too much, I work too much, I work too much, I work too much. I got that shame story and I flipped it on its head. And instead of saying I work too much, instead I just said, I'm unusually committed to my vision to the point where it makes other people uncomfortable because I am unusually committed to what I want and I don't waver from what I want. All of a sudden, that I work too much, all of a sudden, just suddenly lights me up. And then I find myself feeling owning an aspect of myself, owning it, as opposed to shaming myself. So I took something that I used to shame myself on, changed the story, and all of a sudden there is nothing there that I can shame myself about. Because everything that I once shamed myself about, I just turned it around, right? Like one of my clients, she was like, I feel like I'm too sensitive. I was like, are you? Or are you just really connected with your body and your emotions? She was like, wow, I'm actually really connected with myself. And I'm not afraid to feel my feelings. And that right there is a superpower. All of a sudden, changing your perspective by doing something very, very, very simple, yet profound. And then anytime, the reason why this is significant, because now you have like a weapon on the top of your tongue. Anytime you find yourself going back and shaming yourself about that particular thing, all you got to do is jump into the story that you already have, that brand new story, that reframe story, that empowering perspective. And since you already know it is at the top of your tongue, it can come out really quickly. This is powerful. Don't underestimate the power of this. I know it sounds simple, but being able to regulate yourself in the moment with these perspective shifts is a profound skill. A profound skill that only benefits you when you use it. Okay? So now what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and I want you to use this. I want you, whenever you get home, if you're driving or right now if you're taking a walk or whatever, I want you to grab that piece of paper, write these down, see what those shame stories were. And remember, there's always another side to that coin. You're never going to see your coin with one side. It can have the same face on each side, but guess what? It's two sides. You're never going to see a piece of bread with one side. There is always another side to that story. Flip it. Ask yourself, what is the exact opposite of this? One that actually serves me. I've given you guys so many different examples in past episodes on examples of reframing. Like one for me was something's wrong with me because of the way that I talk. I just reframed that and I was like, well, look, I'm so damn unique. The universe had to make sure nobody ever forgot about me. So now I have a lisp and I can't say my R's right because when I speak, you won't forget me. Simple things. But when you change your perspective, everything in your life changes because your experience of life comes down ultimately to your perspective on life. Let me say that again. Your experience of life ultimately comes down to your perspective of life. And the way that you show up in the world comes down to the perspectives you have about yourself. These shame stories, if you don't take time to get aware of them, they're going to be running on in the background, and that perspective of yourself is going to dictate the way you show up in the world, the way you interpret things, which is going to dictate your experience. So become aware of them, step one. And then step two is to reframe every single one of them and have them on the top of your tongue for whenever that time comes when you need it. Okay? Now, hope you found this helpful. I will see you guys in the next episode. By the way, guys, I've been batching a lot of interviews, so don't worry. We got some amazing interviews coming. I've been batching the crap out of them, so we have a lot to load on all of you. But aside from that, have yourself a great one, and don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Hit a review if you haven't. It really helps boost the podcast. Share this with somebody you know who can help them, and let me know how this serves you. And remember, you are not your story. You're the one who writes it. And you have the ability to write whatever it is that you want. Now go and do it.